Today, I want to talk about Indian working hours debates, which is going for a long time. I thought maybe I will cover that. So, what's happening on there? And so, one of the things I want to talk today is few things. One is what Narayan Murthy said, which actually feel the whole debate which is going on, and some of the prominent figures who also push back this idea respectfully, because for the man who Narayan Murthy is a very respected figure in India, and also a little bit global. There's a man who's a very interesting guy from Google. He also had something to say from work, how long you should work. So this is going on. This is not something policy debate, but this has some form of ramification. What is the ethical thing to do, right? So that's what this. And end of the conversation, I do want to share about what I think is how I approach when someone says I have to work for long hours. So stick along. So typically in India, we are now working 40 to 45 hours, a white collar job. That is what is expected on paper. Though there is in startups, there are not necessarily that's the case, and there are a lot of people who abuse. That's a different story. But in Indian rules or the how ideally we should be working 40 to 45 hours. So Narayan Murthy Nene, I think in some conclave or something, he shared his opinion. So I quote him here. So India work productivity is one of the lowest in the world. So I therefore request youngsters, that is, he's requesting youngsters that this is my country. I want to work 70 hours a week. So I don't. And also he went on to say I don't believe in work-life balance. That's bothering, but I'm not changed my view. And he stated in the one more conversation further, I'll take that with me in my grave. So the problematic, what he's trying to push is I don't believe in work-life balance, which also echoed with some of the founders like Ola and all those things. So that's a thing. But his request is more like his argument is do it for the country. So then there are a lot of people talked about like Ola. I don't want him talk about him. I think he has a very different view. It's Western ideas, work-life balance, and all this stuff. And what is the pushback on this idea? So before. I mean, it's expected. People who are working always will push back. Hey, I want to work the least amount of time and get money. That's a typical argument you would say. But it also pushback came from some of the entrepreneurs and some big rich people. So one of the people who said, who's like a mid-aged guy, who's also very respected people is, let me find it, is Anand Mahindra, the man who's a reasonable man, who said, the focus of the conversation should shift from quality of quality of work, not on the quantity of work. It's not about 40 hours, 70 hours, or 90 hours, what outputs are running. So he's basically saying, hey, doesn't matter if you're working 40 hours. You can be trying to build a well, and you can be digging for 40, 50 hours, where there is already a technology we can work smartly. It's not about the well has to be made. It's a question of how quick we can done. So be smart. So he's saying quality of work matters. That's his argument. So there is 2 points he are touching. So still people even said that quality of work, even if you're talking about quality of work, there could be conversation about should you work long hours. But I think this is really pushback from one more prominent figures, that is Namitha Thapar, which is from Shark Tank. She called us, I quote her, it's crops of, I don't know what that means. It's a crop of bullshit. I'll Google that and let you know. But she has said, crop of bullshit. She said, for founders and high stakeholders who have made tons of money, go for it. Work 24 hours a day. But for employee, my accountant, for instance, doesn't share the same financial upside. So basically what she is saying is, whenever the company talks about high working hours, it makes sense for a CEO or someone is saying, or who are founders or who has a lot of equity in the company, works for 24 hours because they have an intent to that. Because if company goes well, they are going to become super rich. It's not the same story that the employee is going to be doing the same. Maybe if he has some form of equity, he will get some upside. When he is not getting the upside, why should he do the same amount of work? It's a typical problem which a lot of CEOs expect. They are working so hard, so that all employees should be working hard. So that is always expected. But I think she nailed it to the point. If you are getting benefit in outside, you should be doing. It's your problem, but you can't expect your employees to do that. Of course, he also said something like it also causes health problems and all those things. I think all these things are well known, but I think Narayan Murthy doesn't care. But I think also one more person who is a prominent person also talked about it. I think he is the CEO founder. I don't think he's the CEO right now. He's a founder of Zoho. He said uh, he is saying he's basically is arguing that I think I cannot find this quote, but he's basically saying that this working for long hours hasn't worked really well for a lot of countries. I think he's talking about countries like Japan and China. There's always a cost to pay. So if you think of go and look at Japan as very well developed, but they have paid a price. Family has been terrible. There's a lot of old generations there because people have been working so hard. There's no time for family. So we don't want to become. And he's basically I'm quoting him. He says, "I cannot allow myself or my employees to burn out." He's really worried about burnout. Burnout can happen if you're someone who's spending so much time. You can just burn out, right? That's the thing. And in concluding this whole topic of who said what, I want to talk about one more guy. Even it's very interesting what Gautam Adani said about it, but I recommend you Google it. But there is one more thing. I think he's a global figure. Is not India relevant. Bill Gates. He makes an argument. This is the elephant in the room nobody talks about. He talks about if you eventually get to a society where you have to work at 3 days, that's probably okay. He's basically saying that I think you will become the society will be in the near future. It is going to be a society where we'll be only working for 3 days. Why is he making a case? Because of AI. So that's the elephant in the room nobody is talking about. So that's why I wanted to talk about the global guy who recommended. That is Sergey Brin, I think. I hope you're pronouncing his name right. He's from Google. He basically says, hey, I want to work for, he has sent an internal memo, I hope I get the facts right, to work for 60 hours in a week is a sweet sort of product. If you do more than that, you do a burnout. And if you do less than that, I don't think it's not ideal. Because he's talking specifically, Google has been known for good work for still it is, I believe. But the AI race has been big. So who gets the thing? So, but his intent is where I have this whole thing becomes very, very interesting about. So what is the guy thing is telling to all these people who are working on AI model? So there is a whole big thought. We're saying that eventually, probably in 10 years, there will be no such thing as work. Elon Musk even mentioned that is what even even money mean, we don't know. So that's where the world is heading. And Sergey Brin they are working on that technology because it's AI, LLM models, basically all AI. So they are working on building something like the artificial general intelligence eventually to artificial super intelligence. So what artificial say is general intelligence which is as smart as any human is. And artificial super ASI is artificial super. It's super. It's basically it's super. Way better even thousands of men put together. That's how it. So that's what they are working on. So the ramification of it is once the technology is ready. That is once what Sergey is asking, work for 60 hours so that eventually the AI will be good enough to replace you, then I will fire you. So that's what the whole thing is. That's why I find it very funny. He's basically saying, hey, work hard enough for AI to develop so big and eventually AI will replace you. You can go your home and pack your bags. That's what he will say. So, but he has the upside. That's what Namitha Thapar is also saying. He has a huge amount of equity in the company. He's going to become rich if AI works. If it doesn't become big, it's not. They are going to lose the race because Google search is AI most likely is going to replace search. That's the first thing it might do. So he's worried, and that's why he's putting the pressure on that. So it's about company. So none of the people here really, other than I think Namitha Thapar and Sridhar Vembu, who are in the other side of people welfare, has spoken really about people. So this raises a foundation question. What is a business? So this is where I think the conversation really is. I mean, when you ask about what is a democracy, by the people, for the people, I think the business is also the people should be reminded a business exists to solve human problem. If your service, what you are providing is beneficial to another human, he's going to pay money. Ideally, in an ideal world, the business should be doing good to the human. Also to the human you are working. So you cannot say that I want to do good to the humanity, but not to the human who is working in your company. So this is a moral question no business people are asking. Okay, I want workers Sunday to work because it works. Yes, it works. There are times we have to work. I understand that because it is a lot of things are at stake. But your argument is we have to work for 70 hours because you can become a greater and better than any of the other countries. It's not a good country. If you say this is my country with Narayan Murthy as argument, is what does that country mean? Is it mean like I miss you? Is it tag, or is it, are you talking for a love for a people in the country? If that's where the whole moral question really lies, and nobody talks about. None of the founders or company people really talk about what is a business job to do. Yes, you really, if possible, we can work 24 hours a day, and it might be company become bigger and bigger, better than other company. Is it the right thing to do? Is it how we want ideally? What is ideal company looks like? That's the point. But said that, the other side, us who are employees who are working, I don't want to say that we can make a case that we should become lazy, we should only work for 2 hours or 3 hours. In fact, this is my argument. I think we should work for 70 hours a week if you have to, but not for your company. I think there was a famous saying, love your job, not your company. The idea was like company will always replace you. Job, if you love, you can do it love. So that was the whole context behind it. But what I'm saying is, if you're someone who is aspiring to become something bigger and you want to do something great, and or you want to have that lot of good leverage in which eventually gives flexibility, which we'll talk about, work for 70 hours. But don't work for 70 hours for your company, on yourself probably. I think Narayan Murthy adds on that intent as well. Probably people should work on themselves, learn skills, apply new skills. That's also the other hope. That's what it is. When I think I agree with him, maybe you should learn a lot of skills. We should upskill because India has this problem. The quality of labor is generally is not great, but I think 10% top 10 is pretty good. So that is where the problem really lies. I think work on yourself. That's a good argument. It's a personal choice. And people should make the choice, but there is a cost to it. Always be aware of all these big people, specifically, maybe here, we don't get all them. Bill Gates divorced. Elon Musk, right? Look at his family, man. It's very messed up. And all this big name who's very hyper successful, but we are very busy. They don't have a great family life. It's very hardly they get. So it's very hard to, I mean, I'm not saying it's very difficult to live a life where you are 24 hours busy and you expect your spouse to be there and with you, and your children still need to be taken care by someone else. It's something, the price you have to pay. So this is where the whole conversation of work-life balance. So I think it's up to us to take this as a question. How do we want to deal that? Then second part. So now we talked about how do we look at this and how do the others people. So what do we do if someone is asking about us to work for 70 to 80, 90 hours or even 24 hours, say? But if you're stuck in a company, stuck, that's a word. You can't do really anything about it. You need the money to run your family, and your boss is asking you to work for 3 days. It's torturous, is like getting a toll on your thing. So what can you do? Can do nothing, but you shouldn't be stuck. This is where the whole thing has very important. I think this is where also what working on yourself probably for 70 hours if prepared is good, because you work on yourself, you became something really, whatever you offer, your skill is so valuable. People are willing to be flexible. That's the way you can get developed. So this is the word I want is leverage. You build leverage. How? Because by providing so high quality value, which not which is hardly very rare to find. If they can find in the market, it's a supply demand game. If I can find a plumber very easily, I wouldn't pay him much. I wouldn't be so worried about when he's coming. But if the plumber's is not, I don't find any good quality plumber or not even available, then I would be more respectful of plumber, because something goes wrong, I want a plumber. So look at what is supply demand. See if your supply for your skills so high, try to develop skills which makes your demand high. So that's the only way. Said all these things, this is based on what we know today. The funniest thing, or the funniest thing in a very sad way is we don't know what is going to be our future in 10 years. With AI taking over in some of the things, if what they claim AI is if AI, they say, can do most of our job what human can. And if AI is going to take over all our jobs, what are we even speaking of? So at this point, also, if you're someone who is looking at this, working hours and all this, I also really, really think you have to check out AI, what's happening. Have a strategy. look for things. Of course, in your society, if you have the bearing, it's all about supply demand. Try to build a skill or provide a skill to society which is highly valuable and people are willing to pay. That's it. Sayonara.